Welcome to Proudly Serving, where we talk with government leaders about how they're best serving the people in their communities. Meet Mike Bloomberg and Andres Villada, proudly serving Holyoke, Massachusetts.
What makes Holyoke special is the people and the culture around it. There's many celebrations of the diversity that we have here. We have St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is one of the biggest in the country. We do flag raisings for different communities. For example, the Colombian community, the Dominican community, like different people from different walks of life just come up to Holyoke and they just feel like the city is open to them and they're a part of it. And we have different cultural activities throughout the year, like Celebrate Holyoke, where we host different artists that come in and play. We had Arlo Guthrie play last year and it attracted like 20 to 30,000 people on a Saturday night in a park that we have here. So, just the way we celebrate our diversity and the people that make up the city is, I think, what makes it special and what I'm most proud of.
You recently did an upgrade to a lot of your web services for the community. And what aspects of Holyoke Digital Service are you most proud of now?
I think one of the timing of our update for our digital services is really what's unique and important. And the thing I'm most proud of was our team's internal capability to work with ProudCity to get our services up and running right at the start of COVID. The city had a legacy website and software that runs through the website that was beginning to break down. We had a clerk's department that was still using Lotus Notes to manage its council meeting notes, which was no longer supported. We had a very, very outdated version of WordPress. And so when we're putting out alerts on the city's website, which, traditionally is maybe once a year, but when you're in COVID is once a day, if not more, you really need to move fast. And we had decided to put together a new website well before COVID. And when it hit, the question was, does this go on the back burner or do we accelerate this? And I think we made the right decision because it's now such an integral part of our communication and our public health response in the city is giving people a trustworthy, reliable place to visit, which is the city's website, holyoke.org. We have a special page for coronavirus response, and it's a place where we're posting daily updates and daily reports. On top of that, it is the gateway to city services. And so we continue to roll out new digital services for our constituents as City Hall remains physically closed to the public. It is very integral that people are able to get the phone numbers, the email addresses for the departments that they're looking for, and continuously increasing the amount of activities and tools and functions that exist on the website so that people can have contactless government services.
Yeah, and I just want to add that it's all very user friendly. It's geared towards who we're working for, which is the residents in the community here. Mm-hmm. So if you compare that to the older website and what we've done before, I don't feel as I'm being restricted in such a way that I can't really be creative. As creative as I am now as before. It's night and day, and so there's different features that I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And you don't often hear the word creative in government, especially around digital. What have you learned as you've launched the new Holyoke Digital Services and the efforts around it?
I think one of the great things is what feedback means to the city and the ability to get feedback. We have gotten, I'd say, probably 10 or 20 times as much feedback as we ever got on the new website than we did on the old website. We get people emailing us requesting functionality. We get people emailing us telling us they love the website or telling us that this is a new feature they want to see or something they want to see changed. The city of Holyoke and Mayor Morse has prided our city hall on being very accessible throughout his term as mayor. It's a city that is 50% Hispanic and Latino, which for a long time didn't have Spanish-speaking people in City Hall. And so we had spent years building up that level of accessibility. And of course, when coronavirus came, that accessibility diminished when you have to physically close the doors of City Hall. So it was very important to us to have a website that was also accessible, that's accessible in the Spanish language, that's accessible by design, and that's accessible in the way that it's able to take feedback and iterate off that feedback. We have dozens, if not hundreds of people who interact with the website in a way where they're sending us feedback, either on our city operations or on the website itself. And we've been able to integrate that feedback as we can continuously make updates to our web services and our city services, which is important during normal times, and it's especially important during a pandemic.
And if I reference back the old website and how hard it was to navigate, I find that all this that I've learned through ProudCity and the work I've done in helping Holyoke have a good website, it's how easy it is to use when you have the right tools. And so I've never thought that I would ever be helping the city to build a website basically from scratch. And with the right tools that I was given, we made a new website that looks completely different and really nice. Again, it just, with the tools I had before, it was really hard, but it's really easy to do stuff with the right tools.
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of people look at, and corporations do this, business does it, governments do it, still looking at a website as a static digital collateral, and it's much more sort of a brochure. And if you have good tools and good technology, you can really leverage it as an engagement tool, a digital engagement tool. And once you're able to have the flexibility to test and iterate, it turns into something that you can continuously improve on based on that feedback that you talked about, Mike. And Andres, you being empowered to just do that as opposed to paying somebody $200 an hour to do it and only being able to afford that person for like 1 hour for the whole year. It's really great to hear that you're getting that feedback and you feel like you're able to act on it. So other cities like Holyoke looking to upgrade their digital presence or their digital services, what's your advice to them?
My advice is pretty much what you just said. So I'll reiterate it. To provide the best services to our residents, especially under COVID, you have to treat digital as an ongoing process, your website as an ongoing process, and not as a static tool. We have continuously put effort into digitization, and it's just the way that a lot of city services are going. It doesn't mean that we're going to have less people working in City Hall, but it means that wait times cut down, that fees get cut down, that we're able to process more small business applications, able to permit more building rehabs, inspect more homes. This is the future of offering quality services to residents. And we need to remember that a website is really the front door towards those services. So when we were looking at tools for our next website, it wasn't just about how great of a website we can have when it launches, but how great is that website going to be 1 month after it launches, 1 year after it launches. And so my advice for cities that are going through this process of looking at digitization and especially for looking at their upgrading their website is making sure that you have the right systems in place for what you're going to put forward. If you're going to have a fully bespoke, custom-made website, more power to you, but then you better have multiple employees within your city government who are going to be committed to being there for a long time, who can continuously update and upgrade that website. And frankly, I think our money and our efforts are better spent delivering the services that the website offers a portal to. And so we always look for to work with the people who are best at what they do, not best at everything, but best at one specific thing. And I think too often when it comes to digital services for city government, we've continued to see this consolidation and some of these large providers that say, hey, we're the only company you need. Mm-hmm. And we've seen the outcome of that 5 or 10 years from now. I'm sure I speak to my fellow city government folks is when you're dealing with technology tools that your city has had for more than 2 or 3 years, they're frustrating, they're crazy, they make you pull your hair out. And that's the challenge of going with some of these larger companies, because at this point they're not interested in innovating their software, they're interested in innovating their pricing and their business model to get more money out of the communities. And while it may seem great, and you may be looking at that day one expense as that's all you need for this next big thing, this next website, this next tool, it's about continuously integrating and upgrading and pushing out new tools to your residents. And to do that, you want to work with providers who are continuously integrating new tools, updating their softwares, and being innovative on the technical side, not just pricing.
Yep. Andres, you were more in the trenches building this. What advice do you have for the folks that are working day to day, managing, helping to launch and managing kind of the day to day activities?
Yeah, not to feel intimidated. I had no prior knowledge of how to have, build the tools for a website or navigate the back end of it, and didn't know much of the terms like CMS and stuff, and so after this and after what I learned, I just would tell anyone there not to feel intimidated, to go forward with constantly upgrading and updating their services for the residents, and if it could be done, not to feel intimidated. I did it, and I'm sure many people out there can.
That was Mike Bloomberg and Andres Villada, proudly serving Holyoke, Massachusetts. Thank you for listening to this episode of Proudly Serving. Visit us online at ProudCity.com/proudlyserving.